morning, students. Let us study about our next topic related to security issues in cloud computing. And the subtopic today is basically host level security issues, specifically in infrastructure security. So this is the outline for today's session. We will be studying about host level security at the infrastructure level, the SaaS and PaaS host security, the infrastructure as a service host security, the virtualization software security, the virtualization server security, followed by certain assignments. So let us see about these topics. So infrastructure at security, specifically at the host level, is at various services provided by the service provider. Like for example, at infrastructure as a service, at software as a service, and at platform as a service. We will be seeing about all this. We have seen in the previous class about the security issues at the network level. We also have security issues at the application level. Today we will be seeing about the host level. So in case of host level, we do not see any new threats specifically to the hosts that are specific to cloud computing. So these are not new threats, but there are some specific threats which needs to be considered related to virtualization. So some of the virtualization security threats are VM escape, system configuration drift, and insider threat. So these are some of the weakness access controls to the hypervisor. So these need to be controlled because virtualization is one of the important layers for cloud computing. So these are basically carried to the public cloud environment. So we will be focusing on some of these threats. So some of the advantages of cloud become actually some of the disadvantages. Like for example, elasticity is one of the major advantages of cloud computing. So this dynamic nature, that is elasticity of cloud computing, brings new operational challenges, and that is basically for security management perspective. So the operational model motivates rapid provisioning and fleeting instances of the VMs. Fleeting is where the virtual instances are created at a very high level and closed. So operational model motivates rapid provisioning and fleeting instances of the VMs. So managing vulnerabilities and patches is therefore much harder than just a scan, as the rate of change is much higher than in the traditional data center. So traditional data centers are basically comparatively slow as compared to the cloud data centers, and the rate of change is very high in cloud centers as compared to the traditional data centers. So the cloud harnesses the power of thousands of compute nodes, and that is basically combined with the homogeneity of the operating system that is employed by the host. That means that the threats can be amplified quickly and easily. The number of threats are going to basically increase to a very high level, and it is basically called as velocity of attack factor in the cloud. So harnessing the power of thousands of compute nodes is a good factor, but it also leads to the velocity of attack factor that is going to be high. So CSPs basically do not publicly share information related to their host platforms, host operating systems, and the processes that are in place to secure the host. So they do not share because it could be proprietary, or maybe they don't want to overcome or declare their weaknesses. So the hackers basically are waiting for the exploits, that information, such information, if it is declared open. So they need to secure the host. So the hackers are waiting for such information, and if such information is available, they try to attack the host, which is the main service provider for the cloud services. So they could intrude into the cloud services. If that is upset, the entire cloud could get upset. So the CSPs basically hesitate to share some of the information publicly. So specifically in the context of SaaS, example Salesforce.com or Workday.com, or in case of PaaS, platform as a service, like we have example is Google App Engine or Salesforce.com, cloud services, they host security and it is very opaque to the customers. The customers are less aware of the security that is provided by the service providers, and the responsibility of securing the host is very much relegated to the CSP in such environment. Now to get the assurance from the CSP on the security hygiene of its host, you should ask the vendor to share the information under a NDA, that is termed as non-disclosure agreement, or simply demand that the CSP shares the information via a control assessment. It's kind of a framework such as SysTest or ISO 27002. So these are basically frameworks which will provide certain information regarding the non-disclosure agreements of the service providers. So knowing the security hygiene is very important, specifically for the host of the cloud service provider. So from a control assurance perspective, the CSP has to ensure that appropriate preventive and detective controls are in place, and will have to ensure that via a third party assessment or ISO 27002. This is again a type of assessment framework. So control assurance perspective is very important, and the CSP has to ensure that appropriate preventive and detective controls are specifically in place, and also that can be ensured via a third party assessment or ISO 27002, as I said. So related to infrastructure as a service host security, the customers are primarily responsible for securing and host provision in the cloud. So here the sole responsibility of the security in case of infrastructure as a service is of the customer, and very less part is on the host provision, that is the cloud service provider. So given that almost all the infrastructure services are available today employ virtualization at the host layer. What we're trying to say is infrastructure services are available with major focus on the employment of virtualization at the host layer. So host security in infrastructure as a service should be categorized in the following categories, like you have virtualization software security and customer guest OS or virtual server security. Let us see more about this. So the software layer basically that sits on top of the bare metal and the provider's customer's ability to create and destroy virtual machines. Basically in infrastructure as a service, the customer basically creates the virtual machines and he destroys also the virtual machines at his will. So the software layer basically sits on the bare metal and the customer's ability to create and destroy the virtual machines. So virtualization at the host level can be accomplished using any of the virtualization modules like which are listed below is OS level virtualization, that is Solaris, containers or BSD jails, Linux vServers. Then you have para virtualization. This is basically a combination of hardware version and version of Xen and VMware, or hardware based virtualization, that is Xen, VMware or Microsoft Hyper-V. So basically virtualization at host level is having these various models. Also it is important to secure the layer of software that sits between the hardware and the virtual servers. So in public infrastructure as a service, customers do not have the access to this specific layer and it is managed by the CSP only. So maybe in private layers things are managed by the organization. The virtual instance of an operating system that is provisioned on top of the virtualization layer and is visible to the customers from the internet. Basically various flavors of Linux, Microsoft and Solaris are available for this particular system. So customers basically have access to the full virtual servers. Now hardware or OS virtualization basically enables the sharing of hardware resources. So where most of the services are basically shared and the resources are going to be shared across multiple guest VM without interfering with each other, so that we can safely run several operating systems and applications on a single computer. This intention is basically to see that several systems are running and applications are running on a single computer. So there is a single computer where multiple virtual machines are created, multiple operating systems are overloaded and multiple applications are overloaded on it and they could be run. So given that the hypervisor virtualization is the essential ingredient that guarantees compartmentalization and isolation of customer, which is one of the major feature for virtualization for each other in a multi-tenant environment, and it is very important to protect the hypervisor and unauthorized users. So it is very important to protect the hypervisors from the unauthorized users. Since virtualization is very critical to the infrastructure as a service, cloud architecture, any type of attack that could compromise the integrity of the compartments, basically which we spoke of compartmentization, will be very dangerous, that is catastrophic to the entire customer base of the cloud, because it is a multi-tenant environment. All the customers are basically located in that compartmentization. So if it attacks, it is going to be very crucial for all the entire customer base of that specific cloud. So a recent study, as per the author, there was an incident at a tiny UK based company called Wasser.com. So this is the company which had certain incidents, and this exemplifies the threat to the hypervisor security. Now they exploited something called as zero-day vulnerability. So the zero-day vulnerability in specifically Hyper-V. So this is a virtualization application that is made by a company, LX Labs hackers, and this basically destroyed literally 1 lakh websites that was hosted by Wasser.com. So the zero-day vulnerability gave the attackers the ability to execute sensitive Unix commands which are very sensitive, which can be executed only by the admin on the system. Like for example, you have rm-rf, that is -rf, which stands for remove recursively, F stands for files. So which basically forces on recursive delete of all the files. So all the files were deleted and no data was left on the servers. So there was another vulnerability in Keloxo, that is posted by an anonymous user on a hacker website, and that was called as Milworm. Actually it is written as W0RM, right? So this is basically a list of long and very long list, and it is list of those yet unpatched vulnerabilities in Keloxo. So this basically is a hosting control panel that integrates into the Hyper-V. So you could install this, you can do various operations in this Keloxo, but there are certain vulnerabilities which are still need to be patched. So the situation was worse, and it went up to 50% of Wasser's customers who signed up for unmanaged services, which doesn't include data backup. So they lost the entire data, and it's still very unclear till date whether those websites owners will be able to even recover or retrieve their lost data. Now virtualization at software security level, CSPs should institute the necessary security controls, that is including restricting physical and logical access to the hypervisor and other forms of employed virtualization layer. So infrastructure as a service customers should understand the technology and security processes control instituted by the CSP basically to protect the hypervisor. So CSP basically lacks transparencies in these areas, and you may have no option but to take a leap of faith and trust CSPs to provide an isolated and secured virtual guest OSs. Now let us see the different threats to the hypervisor. Basically the major focus is the integrity and the availability of the hypervisor, and these are utmost importance and are key to guarantee the integrity and availability of public cloud build on a virtualized environment. So if there is any vulnerability in the hypervisor, this could expose all the users to the malicious insiders. So hypervisors are potentially susceptible to subversion attacks. Now there is another form of attack that is called as blue pill attack on the hypervisor. So some of the researchers basically from the Invisible Things lab, they demonstrated a number of ways to compromise Xen virtualization. So Xen is basically used for hypervisor implementation. So although one of the team members have identified the problems with Xen implementations, generally they seem quite positive about the Xen approach. Xen has a lot of advantages as well as compared to the disadvantages. But the demonstration does not illustrate the complexity of secure virtualized systems and the need for new approaches to protect hypervisor from such attacks. So basically the source code of the software used by the CSP is not available for scrutiny by the security research community. Source codes are basically available only if it is open. But for this case it is not available for scrutiny by the research security research community. So customers of infrastructure as a service, they basically have full access to the virtualized guest VMs that are hosted and isolated from each other by the hypervisor technology. So this customers do have a full access to the virtualized guest VMs, and these are basically hosted by the hosted and isolated for each other by the hypervisor technology. So customers are responsible for securing and ongoing security management of the guest VMs. At the infrastructure level, as I discussed, customers are responsible for securing, and also they need to manage the security till their virtual machines are on. So the CSP blocks all the ports, basically access to the ports to the virtual server, and recommends the customer use of port 22. This is the specific port number, and that is termed as secure shell or SSH, and this is basically used to administer the virtual server instances. Now there are certain new host security threats specifically in public infrastructure as a service, and they are listed here. Stealing keys to access and manage host, example SSH private keys, it has certain keys, private keys, and if you steal those keys, it becomes very easy to access and manage the host. Attacking unpatched vulnerable services listening on standard ports, specifically FTP, NetBIOS and SSH. Hijacking accounts that are not properly secured, that is they could be weak or no password for standard accounts. Then other issues are attacking systems that are not properly secured by the host firewall. So if the host firewall does not secure it, it could be attacked easily. Then you can deploy the Trojans embedded in the software component in the VM or within the VM image, that is the OS itself. Then there are certain recommendations for securing the virtual servers. There are around 12 to 13 recommendations. Let us see. So that is use a secure by default configuration. This will harden your image and use a standard hardened image for instantiating the VMs, that is the guest OS in a public cloud. The next recommendation is a best practice for cloud-based application is to build custom VM images that have only the capabilities and services necessary to support the application stack. The next one is limiting the capabilities of the underlying application stack. Not only limits the host overall attack surface, but also greatly reduces the number of patches needed to keep that application stack secure. Now you can track the inventory of the VM images and OS versions that are prepared for cloud hosting. The IaaS provider provides some of these VM images also, so that could be provided in the account that is given to you. And then when a virtual image for the infrastructure as a service provider is used, it should undergo to the same level of security verification and hardening for the host within the enterprise. So the best alternative is to provide your own image that conforms to the same security standards as the internal trusted host. So you can protect the integrity of the hardened images from unauthorized access. You have to safeguard the private keys required to access hosts in the public cloud. So in general, one can isolate the decryption keys from the cloud where the data is hosted unless they are necessary of decryption, and then only for the duration of actual decryption activity. So if your application requires a key to encrypt and decrypt for continuous data processing, it may not be possible to protect the key since it will be co-allocated with the application. So include no authentication credentials in your virtualized images except for a key to decrypt the file system key. So do not allow password based authentication for shell access. Require password for sudo or role based accesses, example Solaris or SE Linux. Run a host firewall and open only the minimum ports necessary to support the services on an instance. Run only the required services and turn off the unused services, example FTP is not needed, so you can turn it off. Print services which are not needed could be turned off. Network file services and database services if they are not required. Mind you, only if they are not required. You can install a host based IDS, that is intrusion detection system, such as OSAT or SAMHAN. These are some of the examples for IDS. You can enable system auditing and event logging, which is very expected thing in the in such environment, and log the security events to dedicated log servers, so the logs could be checked in the long run to see if there are certain issues. Isolate the log server with higher security protection, including accessing controls. If you suspect a compromise, shut down the instance on which you find a suspect, snapshot your block volumes and back up the root system. So snapshot is taking a backup of the volumes which you have in the cloud, and you can back up the root file system also. You can also perform certain forensics, that is, try to trace out the logs, what are issues with the logs, who has accessed the logs, when it was accessed, and all that. That basically comes in the forensics. So on an uncompromised system later, normally forensics happens on the uncompromised system. You can institute a process for patching the images in the cloud, both offline and instantiated images. Periodically, you can review the logs for suspicious activities. So these are some of the recommendations. Now let us see some of the security controls that are specified at the host level. So the threat outlook, under that we have considered is the preventive controls and the detective controls, and here the factor considered is pretty high. Under preventive controls you have host firewalls, access controls, patching, hardening of system, strong authentication, and under detective controls you have security event logs, host based IDS and IPS. So these are some of the security controls at the host level. These are some of the assignments for today's topic. There are some 7 marks questions and 4 marks questions. This one of the first questions, that is discuss infrastructure security in the cloud computing in detail, is basically asked in the last question paper. So this basically includes at the application level, at the host level and the network level. So you have to write it in brief, but we have studied all the things in detail. If you have any query, you can contact me at the specified email ID. Thank you. We are done for today.